Welcome to Seattle, where I clearly am very comfortable. I wanted to record this video. By the way, that was an e-cigarette, not an actual cigarette, for everybody that cares about my health. These are slightly less toxic for you. And it's Java flavored, which goes with Seattle because it's the coffee capital of somewhere, probably the world. So I have kind of a list of things I wanted to talk about in case if anyone is making a move to Seattle or making a move, to anywhere really, to any big city, but specifically to the northwest or the north left as they call it here. So I have a list I might be referring to. I've been making this since we got here, which was a month and a half ago, a little over a month and a half ago. So we've learned some things, and so I thought I could pass some things on to you, to anyone really who's interested. First of all, when you're in a city or an area or a specific area that has a flavor, make it a point to every day, or at least every other day, get out and explore why you're in the area you're in. You're not just in the area you're in because of a job or whatever, you're in the area because you're there, and so enjoy it, and so get out and do something every day, even if it's raining out, which it hasn't been here lately because it's been the summer, but so that's very important, and it's really kept our move here sort of like an adventure. So it has been really great for us that we get out and we see the docks, we see the locks, we see the ocean, we see there's all kinds of things to see in a city this size. So anywhere you are, you can get out and really have a fun time. And also be sure that you budget for the cost of moving. So because a lot of extra costs come up, as you know. A lot of you have moved before, so I'm sure. So I'll get into the Seattle thing because I don't want to make a super long video. And it might be kind of scatterbrained, but I have a list. So, first of all, I moved from Iowa to Texas a long time ago, like 13 years ago or something like that. A long time ago. And when I got my license, my driving license in Texas, it was a big ordeal. Like, you had to show a birth certificate, you had to prove residency in other ways. It was just an extraordinary thing. You had to have like 4 documents. When you move to Washington, that is not the case. When you move to Washington, it's as simple as going in, giving them your old license. You don't even have to prove where you live in Washington. All you have to do is give them your license and pay a small fee. And what they do is they mail your license to you, like any state would, and then they expect that you're going to pick it up because that's your address. So that's how they verify your address, is that you're there. There are 2 types of licenses in Washington. There's many types of licenses, but there's 2 base types of licenses. One is a normal license, which is like a driving license, and the other is called an EDL, or an enhanced license. So what an enhanced license is it allows you to cross into Canada and back driving without having to use a passport. It costs a little bit extra money. It's like, I think it's $18 more than a normal license. It takes a little bit longer to get, but it really helps out if you're going to be making trips to Canada to visit up there for art festivals or concerts or whatever, or even if you just want to take the Victoria Clipper up just to see the islands. So it's kind of nice to have. And it's really cool because it has an RFID in it, so it's got a little sort of transceiver in it, and not a transceiver, but and so what they give you is, I'm not going to pull it out of the way so you can't steal my info, internet, but they give you this little sleeve here. I'll show you, it's a little metal sleeve, and you just keep your license in there because it's electronic, and because it's an RFID, people could walk by you and steal your identity. Dun dun dun. Anyway, so that's getting a license. And note, if you have a motorcycle license in Texas, you don't have to retake a test here or anything. They just give you the motorcycle certification here, which is probably like most states, but I'm not sure because I got my motorcycle license in Texas, and I haven't. This is the first state I've moved to since then. I want to talk just a second about getting here, especially from Texas, because we do have a lot of friends from Texas. So we drove, and if you're ever visiting and you want to take a drive, we drove to the west through the desert, and and then up the Pacific Coast Highway, and it was an extraordinary journey. The Texas journey through Texas was really bleak and bland, which is to be expected because that West Texas is really nasty. But El Paso was kind of interesting, and all of these places we kind of hit at night. Phoenix, but then once you hit California, there is a wall, and a lot of you have been there, but there's a wall of just beauty, and it hits you, and then the ocean and the hills and the mountains and that sort of that LA area, really beautiful. So take time, if you're going to do a move, take some time to do the move, because it's really worth it, because you might not ever get down there again. We'll probably never drive through that desert again, but it was a really cool experience. So anyway, to get back on the topic of Seattle, after you get your license going and stuff, you want to get your car registered. It's pretty easy here in Seattle. You just have to turn your, you don't have to turn your plates in or anything. Like I think I had to turn my plates in Texas or something. But anyway, you don't have to turn your plates in. You just, you go and you pay the fee, and they give you the plates there, which is, I thought was strange. It was like an instant, here's your license plate for your car. No stickers. You don't need stickers on your window up here. You do need stickers on the back, but it's just what's called a tab here. It's called a tab sticker, and it only verifies that you're registered. There's no inspections. So, no stickers on the front window, no inspections here. It's kind of nice. If you do have a car earlier than 2009, they do require you to get an emissions test, but that's just what you do to get your tab. So it's just a little tiny sticker on the back. It's kind of like in Iowa, we had that too when I was young, growing up. So that's your car registration, really easy, just like your license, much easier than I'm used to, very fast. Also, it should be noted that the state-run departments here, so the licensing department, the place where you go to get to get your registration for your car, they're much more friendly than I'm used to. So I mean, there are some people that are kind of like, you know, kind of like, I'm here, I can't be fired, you know, screw you. But honestly, it was a much better experience than in Texas. So so and I want to go into specifics about Seattle. Public transportation is huge here. It's really great. They've got trains, they've got trolleys, they've got all kinds of different things. And what you do is, it's really easy. You just preload this card. This is a lot like San Francisco. They have their own card, but it's called an Orca Card. And this is a RFID card again. So what you do is you just preload this with cash. You can do it on your phone or on the web or at the station. And you can use this for the ferries, for the bus system, for the transit system. I don't think you can use it for the Sounder, which is the train that goes up and down the coast. But you can use this for pretty much anything, and you can get anywhere in the city proper with this. So it's really cool and very efficient. I think it costs $8 to use the ferry, and then you get a free ride back. It's always free back into Seattle. That's how the Orca Card works and how transportation works. There's also a couple toll roads here, and you can get a, you know, like you can in Texas and a lot of other states, I'm sure most other states, if not all, you get a thing you stick in your window, and it works great. So there's one of those here, as you would expect. The voting system here is totally different than it is anywhere I've been before, or anywhere I've lived before. They mail you your ballot in the mail, and you send it back. There are no voting booths here. You don't go in and vote like you do in Texas to a precinct or a district or whatever. You know, you don't do that. There are obviously districts here, but you don't go in to do that. They mail it to you, and along with a booklet and a pamphlet. It's like about all of the candidates and the issues that are going on, and then you just mail your ballot back, and you can check online to make sure that your ballot has been received properly. It's a really great system, so I'm really excited to see that work, because we haven't seen it work yet. But I did get a brochure of like the different issues that we weren't able to vote on yet because we just got here. So I think you have to wait like, you know, a month before you can do that. So Seattle is, sorry, I'm trying to make this kind of as quick as possible. Seattle is a very clean city, as you would expect. Just like Austin and a lot of other cities, it's so clean, in fact, that they require businesses to have a compost and a recycle, as well as a garbage. So there's three. So there's three garbage cans basically everywhere you go. I'm talking Subway, McDonald's, the grocery store, even a lot of places outside, and they'll have them marked with what you're putting in them, so they'll remind you this goes into compost, this goes into recycle, this goes into trash. So it's a very clean, conscious sort of city. Really neat to see that, and to see people actually caring about that. It shocked us when we were here, but it's kind of neat. If you have a dog or a cat, first of all, there are more dogs and cats per capita than children in the area in Seattle. I'm sorry, in Seattle, and this area that we're in, Belltown, which is right by the Space Needle, has the highest concentration of those pets. So it's a very pet-friendly city. There are places you can actually eat with your pet, so you can go to a restaurant and eat, and it's really cool. If you're renting and have a pet, most places have pet rent. Now, our place doesn't. We were really lucky to get a great deal where we're at for this sort of term that we're here, for the rent that we're paying right now. But most places have pet rent, so expect to pay, if you're getting a rental, you're used to an apartment, if that's what you're used to, expect to pay a down payment that's non-refundable, and then a refundable payment plus a monthly pet rent. And that pet rent could be, and you can look it up for each apartment, but it could be anywhere from $25 to $80. Some of them were. So it was like, so that has to be factored into your decision on where you're living. So make sure you ask about pet rent if you're thinking about moving here. Also, in the city, there is so much paid parking, and I don't mean just on the streets, I mean in shops. We ate at a sushi restaurant when we first got here, down by the water. It was really pretty. This little parking sign was hidden, and we had to pay like this fee because we didn't pay it. So watch for a payment, city pay things, because they're in places you wouldn't think that they would be in, including grocery store parking lots. So things like that. Alcohol, oh yeah, my next note is about alcohol. Wow, moving from Texas is extraordinary, moving from here, because I can go get alcohol from the grocery store, we're talking hard liquor, on Sunday, okay? So yeah, congrats on that one. Not that I drink much. Anyway, also they have great breweries here, and a lot of different types of beer in local specific areas. Really neat. We've had some really cool beer. Your utility bill here, if you're moving from Texas, your utility bill here will shock you, because it's so cheap to live here in the summer. Most places don't have air conditioning. Most apartments don't come with air conditioning, even though it gets up to like 85 and muggy. So they might give you a little window unit and this and that to get by, but even with that, for the last month, our electric bill was under $50. It was like $42. I've paid $150 in Texas, and even $205 I think was my max, or $215 when I was living in Corpus. So the electric bills are drastically lower here, even in the winter, I hear, from what we've seen from like our place and the previous records. Really low electricity because you're not using a lot of it. You're not in that 110-degree heat. So a lot of the times you just have your windows open. Seattle is, on the next topic, Seattle's a very internet-friendly city, so there's gigabit service here. Our place, we get 75 down and like 22 up. It's ridiculous. And that's like the cheapest plan. So there are a lot of internet providers here that are really good. I don't think Time Warner is actually here. Is that right? Like, we looked to see if evil Time Warner cable was here, and they're not. I mean, it was like hard to find. So that was kind of nice. Speaking of hard to find, Walmart is very hard to find here, which you might like because they have a Fred Meyer as the replacement. So if you're looking for a place like Walmart, go to Fred Meyer. It's a lot better business. They're not shitty to their employees, by large. Grocery stores, no H-E-B's here, no Hy-Vee's here. Grocery stores, QFC is the main one. So go to QFC, get a QFC card, so you can get deals. Great grocery store. They also have Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, things like that. Lots of things in walking area, especially if you're downtown area. Lots of multi-level plexes for those grocery stores. Pharmacies. I haven't really seen a CVS here. They have Rite Aid and Bartell Drugs, and there's a Walgreens down the way. But most people go to Rite Aid. So get a Rite Aid card. All these little places have little loyalty cards that are free. You just get them like anywhere.
Locals go to Bartell.
The locals go to Bartell. Healthcare. Washington is one of the states that did not refuse Obamacare assistance. So you can get healthcare here even if you don't think you can afford it. So when you move to a new state actually to a new state period, you can get reevaluated under Obamacare if that's what you have. And so you have another enrollment process. So if you're moving and you're an artist, or if you don't have the income when you come here, if you're not coming here for a job that's going to provide you with health care, you can look into that. And sometimes it's absolutely free here because Medicare takes care of it, so it'll help you out in that transition. Really nice. A lot different than the experience that we had in Texas. Lots of coffee options. It's Coffee City. We live on top of a coffee place called Uptown Espresso. They're all over the place. Of course, there's Starbucks here. If you're a fan of Seattle's best coffee, we have not been able to find one except for in the airport. So it doesn't kind of exist here. I mean, there's like maybe one to the south we saw on Google Maps. And the locals will tell you that they don't go to Starbucks, but they do. Everybody goes to Starbucks here. There's huge lines, and they're not all tourists. So, more about locals on my list. This is trying to wrap up the list. Most locals say they don't use umbrellas, even when it's raining. I have yet to see it rain really hard, so we'll see how that goes. But you should probably bring an umbrella because it does rain here quite a bit. Crosswalks. Be careful in crosswalks here because if there's a cop near, like it's very strict with crosswalks here. Like the second week I was here, I got yelled at because I walked when I wasn't supposed to, so be careful. Although they've been really nice in every other respect, but it's just that, I think, it's near a construction zone. There are freshwater lakes here, so if you're into swimming, they're warmer than the Sound, which you can't get in at any time because it'll make you numb. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't. And so there's swimming lakes here. There's Lake Washington, which is a massive lake, and it's really pretty, and it's clear water, and you won't believe your eyes with that. Lots of food options. Food City. Food is a little bit more expensive here if you buy it prepared, I've noticed. But if you get it at the grocery store, we haven't noticed much of a price increase at all. So but be prepared to pay more if you eat out. That's about it, except for it's a really gay-friendly city, which is one of the reasons why we moved here. And so everywhere is really friendly in that respect. And actually, they've been really friendly in general. Most people talk about the Seattle Cold Shoulder. I haven't really seen it yet. I'm sure it exists, but I haven't really seen it. So anyway, everybody's been really nice, and put a comment up if you have any questions about moving here. We're still learning about the area, and we haven't experienced the winter yet. So, but anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope it helped out someone.